A knock came on the door at 3 in the afternoon as smoke was filling the sky. When Christina Bowen heard the deputy sheriff of Plumas County cheer, she knew she had to move quickly. He said plainly, "Pack your family, you have 5 minutes to leave." Bowen, 40, remembering the scramble to vacate her mobile home in the Dixie Fire, by far the largest fire yet in California, has swept through the surrounding forests. In this part of Northern California, at least 16,500 people were recently forced to flee their homes as other wildfires broke out. The evictions are heightening tensions in an area still recovering from a campfire that killed 85 people in 2018, the deadliest fire in California history. U.S. President Joe Biden met virtually on Friday with the governors of 7 western states, where devastating wildfires have intensified in recent years as climate change creates hotter and drier conditions. They discussed how the federal government can assist states in their prevention, preparedness, and emergency response efforts. It is reported that more than 80 major fires broke out across the country on Friday, burning about 1.7 million acres in 13 states. Fire officials described the 2 largest fires, the Dixie Fire, which has spread to nearly 241,000 acres, and the Buttaleg Fire in southern Oregon, as burning earlier and more intensely than usual at this time of year due to the record conditions of drought and heat across the region. And in a bizarre repeat of the campfire that devastated the town of Paradise and started with equipment from Pacific Gas and Electric Company, the major utilities company told regulators this month that its equipment may have started the Dixie Fire, in the same mountain valley where the 2018 fire started. The cause of the Dixie Fire is still under investigation. Lindsay Paolo, a spokeswoman for Pacific Gas and Electric, declined to answer questions, referring instead to a report to regulators and court filings in response to a court order seeking information about the fire. The accident report, filed by the company on July 18, described how an employee noticed burning valves in an area near Interstate 70, and a fire on the ground near the base of the tree. In a court filing on July 28, the company said it was continuing to investigate the role of its equipment in the Dixie Fire, which was nearly 23% under control on Friday. As firefighters struggle to contain the blaze, the town of Quincy, on the edge of the area this week, has transformed from a very quiet town of about 2,000 people to a very crowded gathering area. At night, firefighters set up tents and sleep in the town park. At dawn, they gather in trucks and bulldozers and head to the surrounding mountains. In one of the largest emergency mobilizations currently underway in the United States, at least 6,079 people were called to fight the Dixie Fire. They encounter an array of unpleasant conditions during their 24-hour work shifts, including walking more than 15 miles through rugged mountains to reach places where engines can't move. Black Hawk helicopters hover over the area with National Guard soldiers on board carrying water to pour on fire, giving parts of the area the feel of a war zone. Reaching Quincy from Chico requires passing through many abandoned Gold Rush roadblocks and progress points such as Twain and Belden, somehow rescued by firefighters. Charred trees still stand alongside much of Interstate 70, as well as nearby call signs like burning cars in front of intact but empty homes. Some hills remained charred on Friday. Several signs on the road expressed their gratitude to the firefighters who were deployed to tackle the blaze. "I'm so happy to be alive," said Marva Stewart, 75, a retired sales employee who spent the past week and a half in a makeshift shelter at Hope Fountains Church in Quincy. "But it's frustrating, and we have no idea when this will end. It's not the way we're supposed to live in this country." One afternoon this week, some in the crowded church were browsing through social media for the latest news on the Dixie Fire, which started on July 13 and took up more land than New York City. Balthazar Garcia has tried to call his sister several times, but Quincy's crowded mobile phone networks mean he can't communicate. "It was really hard for me," Garcia, 76, a former quarry worker, said in Spanish. "At least they serve us meals." Other evacuees spent time in the parking lot or took refuge in their cars as refugees, as the smoke turned the sky an unusual shade of orange. In many cases, they operated windshield wipers to get rid of smoke dust that collected on the windshield. "I can't take it anymore," said Tracy Ketchum, 66, a retired housewife, sitting in her car outside the church. She said she was looking for some peace and quiet when she left Orange County in Southern California for rural Greenville 9 years ago. "I'm studying the Bible," Ketchum said, "and now I can't help but feel that this is the end of days." She noted that the lack of privacy in the shelter, along with reports of Pacific Gas and Electricity's involvement, and the lack of reliable information on how long this disaster could last, confirmed her feelings in the end. Ketchum, who lives alone, added, "It may all be a sign that I should go home regardless of the risks. All that waiting, kids crying, damned heat here in town. It should be better than it is here." Noting the drought conditions that fuel the bushfires, temperatures this week have hovered around 100 degrees in the areas around the Dixie Fire. The fire has grown so much that in the state capital Sacramento, a 3-hour drive from Quincy, the fumes raised concerns this week about deteriorating air quality. And authorities urged Sacramento residents with respiratory problems or heart disease to limit outdoor exposure. "It feels like we've drifted into a place we can't control," said Scott Ludwig, who had to leave the mobile home park with his wife Bowen and their 2 children. Ludwig, a former carnival worker who is now a disability payer, said he wanted answers from Pacific Gas and Electric. As he put out a cigarette while standing near the entrance to the shelter, he stared at the thousands of tree trunks piled high near him, to remember how dependent Quincy had been on the trees that now burn. "We have no idea if we should evacuate again," Ludwig said. "Look around, there's a lot the fires haven't burned yet. If the fire reaches this place, we are like roast ducks." A knock came on the door at 3 in the afternoon as smoke was filling the sky. When Christina Bowen heard the deputy sheriff of Plumas County cheer, she knew she had to move quickly. He said plainly, "Pack your family, you have 5 minutes to leave, Bowen."